There are almost 22 million millionaires in the US, and many of these didn't inherit wealth, graduate from a top university, or are on salaries of hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. In fact, in the book The Millionaire Next Door, it did a study that found over 80% of millionaires in the US are self-made, and the majority were earning less than $100,000 per year. Most people won't have heard of Sylvia Bloom. She managed to amass a $9.2 million fortune while spending her entire 67-year career working as a legal secretary. Or Ronald Reed, who managed to build an $8 million fortune whilst working as a janitor. These are amazing examples of people in lower income jobs that have been able to grow massive wealth. In this video, I'm going to share 3 strategies on how you can build your wealth while earning a low to modest income. If you're new to this channel, I'm Matt. I've been a finance consultant for over 10 years. I've gone from having negative $20,000 when I had student debt all the way to over $1 million in net worth. And hopefully on this video I can share some tips that can help you to build your wealth too. So let's get started. Number 1 is to understand your monthly cash flow and to consciously manage your living expenses. You need to do this first of all to understand what your financial baseline is and what you're starting from. The simple cash flow formula is the income that you make minus your expenses. For example, if you have a $3,000 per month household income and your expenses are $2,500, then you have a positive cash flow of $500 per month. However, if your expenses rise to $3,500 per month, then you have a negative cash flow as your expenses are now more than your income. It might sound like common sense, but the reality is that 69% of people in the US live paycheck to paycheck. There are a few things that you can do to manage your expenses to get to a position where you have a positive cash flow. The first point is that no more than 50 to 60% of your income should be covering need-related costs. These are fixed costs such as rent or mortgage, utility bills, your day-to-day food and transportation, as well as any other costs that make up your essential living expenses. Housing, transportation and food are the 3 largest expenses for a typical household. And finding a way to save on these will make the biggest difference to reducing your fixed living costs. For example, could you negotiate a lower rent deal by locking in for a longer tenancy term with your landlord? Or use a comparison website to switch to a lower cost provider for your utility bills. It can be tricky to keep expenses from ballooning, particularly in high cost of living locations, and your spending will keep increasing as your income goes up unless you consciously manage it and set a ceiling. So this 60% cap or limit helps to keep your expenses in check. The second point is to pay off any high interest debt that you have, such as car loans, personal loans, credit card debt or student loans. You really want to do this before you start saving, as it usually costs you more to borrow money than you can earn in returns from saving. For example, if you have $2,000 of savings at a 4% annual interest, you'll earn $80 over a year. But if you also have $2,000 of credit card debt at a 22% interest, it will cost you $440 over that same year. High interest debt is always going to grow faster than savings, so pay it off first, and then once it's cleared, you can focus on building your savings. The third point is to optimize your spending to help you save more. No more than 20% of your income should go on your wants. It's so easy to get caught up with a new trend or wanting the latest version of technology, like the newest iPhone, and we instantly convince ourselves that we need it, even if our current phone is working completely fine. When you're in this moment, it's a good idea to pause before buying and ask yourself the question, do you really need this? If you're really focused on growing your wealth, then you have to be tough on your discretionary spending. Even if you're on a modest to high income, if you're not managing your spending and avoiding lifestyle inflation, then you're going to find it hard to build your wealth. So focus first of all on understanding your financial baseline each month and across the year, and tracking your expenses so that you have a solid financial foundation ready for the next step. The second part of the video is about maximizing your savings rate and investing within your means. The 60-20-20 rule means that if you're able to keep your living expenses to less than 60% of your income and your spending on wants to less than 20% of your income, then you can save and invest the final 20% of your earnings. Let's break down how you could save and invest to get to that $1 million target. If you were able to gradually increase the amount you save per month as you got older and as your income increased, then an example of how you could get to $1 million is by contributing and investing $200 per month between the ages of 25 and 34, $350 per month between 35 and 44, $550 per month between the ages of 45 and 54, and $750 per month between 55 and 64. Over that 40-year period, you could make $1 million based on an average annual rate of return of 8%. And that is the level of returns that we've seen, for example, on the S&P 500 stock market. Now, the more that you can invest at an earlier age, the less you'll need to invest later on to reach that $1 million savings goal, as more of your wealth is generated by the market rather than money that has to be contributed by you. For example, if you only start saving and investing from 40 years old, then you need to contribute $1,150 per month to get to $1 million by 65, based on the same rate of return. As you can see, the sooner you start investing, the more benefit you can get from compounding your investments. If we go back to the examples of Sylvia Bloom and Ronald Reed that I mentioned at the start of the video, both made multi-million-dollar fortunes by investing in the stock market over a number of years. In fact, Ronald, who was the janitor who made $8 million, he owned at least 95 different shares in companies at the time of his death, many of which he had held for years, if not decades. Stocks and shares is one investment option to build your wealth. The main thing is to focus on wealth generating assets rather than using that money to buy physical possessions like expensive designer clothes, sports cars or electronics, as these things don't help to grow your wealth. If you look at some of the wealthiest people in the world, people like Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, they own assets such as businesses or rental property, and their wealth grows from the equity value increasing and also from the assets generating income. The income they then receive is reinvested in buying more assets, and that cycle keeps compounding, growing the size and value of their assets and wealth. I've been personally investing for over 15 years now, and compounding your investment is a bit like rolling a snowball down a hill. It keeps getting bigger and bigger as it goes along. One tip to help you build the habit to save and invest is to automate it by setting up a direct transfer each month once your pay comes in. That way you always set aside an amount to save and invest each month. By doing this, you're building solid saving habits into your regular routine, and by paying yourself first and automatically saving when your paycheck comes in, you're forcing yourself to manage your budget to be within your means. If after that you're thinking, well, you already manage your expenses as well as you can, but you're still not able to save, or that you don't want to continue feeling financially insecure for the next 30 or 40 years while your investments grow and you wait for retirement to finally enjoy your money, then you need to focus on ways to increase your earning potential to be able to save faster and invest more money. There are lots of different ways that you can increase your earnings. One way is to start a side business. A good example of this is Joe Parry, who's earned over $500,000 since 2015, selling courses on the platform Udemy on everything from business planning to social media marketing and computer software. This is just an example to help get you thinking. Reflect on what strengths and skills you already have that could help you to earn some additional money on the side. I think one of the best ways to increase your income is to build your skills so you're more valuable in the job market, either to be able to negotiate a better salary or to be able to find a higher paying job. If you currently work as an assistant in a grocery store and you manage to save up $200 and you take that money and you pay for a sales course which enables you to get a sales job paying more money, if you're then able to add the ability to do marketing on top while you're doing your sales job, then you can now run your own ad campaigns, you can get customer leads in, and you can close sales. Your earning potential has just gone up tenfold from the pay you were getting from working in the grocery store. The key here is layering on skills so you become more valuable. If you think about it, there's a cap on how much you can reduce your cost by in order to save, as there's a limit on how little you can realistically live off, but there's no limit on how much you can increase your earnings by. If you can increase your earnings while keeping your expenses at a similar level or within your means, then you'll find you're able to save and invest at a much faster rate, and in turn also grow your wealth. So these are my 3 tips on how to grow wealth on a low to modest income. I hope the video has been helpful. Feel free to leave any comments, give the video a like and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you on the next video.